with your host, Michael Cargill, brought to you by Texas Law Shield. Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes Magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Good day, Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. All right, so this hour, we're going to talk about, there's some breaking news coming out of Uvalde. Investigative report on Uvalde shooting is being released. And so we're going to go straight to that news conference when it comes up. Also, I want to talk about the Clinton assault weapons ban. That's right. That's the federal assault weapons ban that happened in 1994 that expired in 2004. We're going to talk about that. Also, exactly what happened during that assault weapons ban and what actually did it ban. And we're going to break that stuff down and see what this current Congress does about that. Also, I want to talk about current events going around the country. I want to talk about Academy Sports. I want to talk about Miami. We're going to dip down in Miami, and I'm also going to play for you a 911 call. Man, you got to listen to this nail-biting stuff that was going on there. Also, NASCAR. What's going on with NASCAR? We're going to go to Florida, talk about Florida. And we're going to go to Philly, the city of brotherly love. We're going to talk about Philly there. And then we're going to wrap it up with Uvalde again, but we are going to go to that press conference when it pops up in Uvalde. The investigative report is being released, but breaking news, let me tell you, we already knew, that the police response was bad. We already know they were a bunch of cowards, and they didn't defend those little babies. But we're going to go to that press conference anyway and see if there's any new information that we possibly couldn't figure out for ourselves. Also, I want to talk about gun store etiquette. What to do, what not to do when you walk into the gun store. Let me tell you, a lot of people buy guns all around the country. You have a lot of different websites you can purchase firearms from. You can buy it from Gun Trader, you buy it from Texas, just a lot of different websites. You can get it, another gun store, and then that firearm has to ship to a gun store close to you. Well, then we call that a FFL, a Federal Firearms License Transfer is what we call it. So you walk into the gun store, and you fill out the firearm transaction record. We do a background check on you if you don't have a license. If you have a license, your background check's already been done, and you can walk out with the guns as long as you pay that little transfer fee. And so, here's what not to do. You're going to get an alert, like an email alert that your UPS, your USPS, your FedEx package has arrived. It's shown up in the gun store. What you don't want to do is show up within 15 minutes, 20 minutes of that you getting that email, because the gun store has to process that information. Unfortunately, we have paperwork that we have to do because we have to adhere to the federal government. We have to adhere to the federal government. In some states, they listen to the state government. And in some other states, even the county government as to how things need to be done, all the paperwork in that particular gun store. So we have to type that information into a system. We need to annotate the manufacturer, the make and model, the serial number, verify the serial number that's on the paper because the same serial number that's on the actual gun. We need to log all that stuff into a system and then also log in where it's coming from, put in the FFL information. There's a lot of front-end information. So that way, when you walk into the gun store, your transaction is done pretty briskly. You walk in, we have you fill out the paperwork, and you can walk out. Got an LTC, it happens even faster than that. And so what you don't want to do is show up to the gun store within 15, 20 minutes of that package arriving. Because like at Central Texas Gun Works, we get like 100 guns a day, literally. So there's some days we get 2 UPS trucks. We always get 2 FedEx trucks. We always get a UPS delivery. Sometimes a Lone Star overnight delivery. Sometimes there's a truck that shows up, backs up, and drops literally a pallet of guns or ammunition at our doorsteps. And we don't know what's showing up that particular day. But usually at least 100 guns a day will show up. And so we have to process that information. If I have to stop my train, my employees they're on the train tracks there. They're actually, they're on the system, and I'll let them go. They can get it done within 3-4 hours. We give you a call by 3-4 o'clock, maybe 5, let you know you can come in and pick up your gun. But if you come in and like this young man that did this previous week here, and I'm going to tell you exactly what his name is. His name is Taylor Kelly. Taylor Kelly. This young man lacks the ability to actually, I think he lacks the ability to even possess a firearm. He doesn't have the temperament to even have a gun. So Taylor Kelly decides to walk into the gun store within 15, 20 minutes of his gun being delivered and demanding that we give him his gun. Okay, I don't know what the hurry is. I don't know what the rush is, Mr. Taylor Kelly, but we have a system. We have to follow that system, make sure everything's done right, so we don't make any mistakes. Because unlike anyone else, I don't want to make a mistake where I'm actually violating a federal law. You know what a concept? Don't want to go to jail. I don't want to have to pick up the soap. You know what I'm saying? So we want to make sure we follow all the rules of the federal government, get everything done right, so that way we can make sure your transaction goes smoothly. Because I'm not going to risk you paying $20 or $25 for a transfer fee and me going to federal prison. What a concept. So Mr. Taylor Kelly is so excited. He wants his gun so bad. We like, look, sir, all you have to do is wait till about 3 o'clock. You're guaranteed to get a phone call, and we will make sure you can get your gun that particular day. Well, he couldn't wait. So he is so pissed off, he goes out into the parking lot, writes 3 one-star Google reviews. Not 1, not 2, but 3 one-star Google reviews in the parking lot of the gun store. Talk about how we lied to him. He couldn't get his gun. We were rude to him. We're like, look, dude, we got a system. Just chill out, wait, we'll get your gun. But he couldn't wait. He was so excited. He needed his gun right away. He just couldn't wait. So then he goes and writes a Better Business Bureau complaint. Well, guess what? Now, Mr. Taylor, you're not going to get your gun. And let me repeat that. Taylor Kelly is not getting his gun, okay? Now I'm going to return his firearm to the sender. And then you know what? I'm going to hold on to it until I'm tired of holding on to it. You know why? Because I'm the federal firearms licensed dealer, and you can't make me give the gun up. So when I get tired of holding on to that gun, then I'll send it back to whoever it needs to be returned to, and then he can get his firearm. Now, let me explain something to you. This young man is so demanding of getting this gun. Now, under my professional opinion, I don't believe Mr. Taylor Kelly should have a firearm. He is just way too demanding on getting his gun, where he couldn't wait until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. From 12:30 to 3:30, he just could not wait. So that tells me maybe Mr. Taylor Kelly is trying to get his firearm for some malicious reason or something like that. So under my professional opinion, Mr. Taylor Kelly should not have access to a firearm. And I'm going to make sure I contact every gun store in the surrounding area to make sure they do not transfer a firearm to this young man, because I think he's a danger to himself and possibly a danger to the surrounding area of Austin, Texas. And I don't want someone like that getting access to a firearm. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Peace, this is Maj Toure. You're listening to Come and Talk It Radio with Michael Cargill.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, "I invoke my right to remain silent," and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights, and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
As soon as that press conference is live, we're going to go to Uvalde and hear what the report they have is going to be released. According to the officials, systemic failures in Uvalde school massacre report finds that, check this out, there are nearly, I'm going to give you the key points to take away from this, what we're going to hear, or expected to hear. Nearly 400 law enforcement officials rushed to a mass shooting in Uvalde. And it was just a mass of some systemic failures there, which created a chaotic scene that lasted more than an hour before the gunman who took 21 lives was finally confronted and killed. So the key takeaways are this. At Robb Elementary, law enforcement responders failed to adhere to their active shooter training, and they failed to prioritize saving innocent lives over their own safety, according to what the report says. The gunman fired approximately 142 rounds inside the building, and it is almost certain that at least 100 shots came before any officer entered, according to the report. Now, according to the report, 376 law enforcement officers massed at the school. The overwhelming majority of those who responded were federal and state law enforcement. That included nearly 150 U.S. Border Patrol agents and 91 state officials. The report noted that many of the hundreds of law enforcement responders who rushed to the school were better trained and equipped than the school district police, which the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety, the state police force, previously faulted for not going into the room sooner. Now, it is a joke. They're a joke. They've got no business wearing a badge. None of them do, according to Vincent Salazar, grandfather of 11-year-old Layla Salazar, according to what he said today. Arredondo also tried to find a key for the classrooms, but no one ever bothered to see if the doors were locked, according to the report. Arredondo's search for a key consumed his attention and wasted precious time, delaying the breach of the classrooms. The report criticized as lackadaisical the approach of the hundreds of officers who surrounded the school and said that they should have recognized that Arredondo remaining in the school without reliable communication was inconsistent with him being the scene commander. The report concluded that some officers waited because they relied on bad information while others had enough information to know better. And just so you know, there's a Supreme Court ruling that says law enforcement have no duty to protect you, only general duty to enforce the law. So always keep that in mind. They don't have to come and save you. You know, a lot of times it's really up to you to save yourself. But we're talking elementary school kids, children. You know, we're talking little babies in elementary school. You have the rifles, you have the handguns, you have the ammunition, you have the protective gear. My goodness, little babies are being mowed down by AR-15 fire, and you couldn't go in there with a shield. You had the rifle, you have the handgun, you have the ammunition, you had the backup to go in and stop this guy, this one person, and you couldn't even make an attempt. That is very sad, very disappointing. And to this date, no one's being fired. That's the problem. That's what I don't like. No one's being fired from this job at all. But then the response of the current administration in Washington, D.C. is that we should have some type of assault weapons ban. That's what they want to do. So let's talk about that. The Clinton assault weapons ban. That's a federal assault weapons ban that was in 1994 that expired in 2004. So let me have my gun nerd, Matthew, tell us what that assault weapons ban was in 1994. Matthew.
So the way the assault weapons ban worked back in the day was it was certain accessories on a semi-automatic rifle that were defined to become assaultee, whatever that means. So you had, I'm going to bring out one of my personal builds. This is my own standard semi-auto rifle, not an assault weapon. AR-15 custom job, based on one of my favorite characters from a certain cell phone game that will be left unmentioned unless you know who
So
I'm
you're
talking
holding.
about.
So what kind of rifle is that you're holding?
It is a custom SOP Mod Block 2 clone based on the M4 SOP Mod Block 2 platform. So the Clinton ban.
So for those that know what so you're holding a standard AR.
AR patterned after SOP Mod Block 2.
Okay, we don't know what that is, and that's not in the dictionary. So let's go back to what the standard name is for that according to the firearms community.
Armalite 15 platform.
Thank you.
So what the Clinton administration said was apparently an adjustable buttstock like so was somehow deadly because you could actually increase the concealability capability of it. A pistol grip allowed for better control over the firearm. Therefore, you could keep more rounds on target. Somehow that made it even more dangerous than your standard rifle platform. It has a detachable magazine, which apparently is a feeding device that is too quick for reloading or holds too many rounds, according to the Fed, whatever that means. It had a barrel shroud because apparently you're supposed to keep your hands to burn off as you hold bare barrel. Now, the other thing that it did, oddly enough, was it banned threaded barrels and any other device that made it replicate a standard military firearm. So, how did the standard companies, such as Colt and the rest of the groups, take care of this? On the classic A2 front sight post, which this one does not have, the A2 would actually be a triangular front sight where the gas system actually utilizes. Typically, there was a bayonet lug. Well, that was shaved off and filed down to keep compliant. They never threaded the barrel, so that was another thing they did to keep it compliant. And typically, they would actually take the buttstock and utilizing the pistol grip, take it and pretty much do this move to where the buttstock and the pistol grip were one and the same piece, aka thumb hole. All those allowed it to become compliant with federal law, and so they were still selling AR-15s, just a different styling.
So it really wasn't a complete ban on AR-15s. They just banned some parts and pieces of it. So the cosmetics is what we're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we're talking once again, just for those people. I want you to say it one more time. What exactly on the rifle you could not have? One more time. Pull it up one more time.
Threaded barrel.
Which is show the people.
So this would have a threaded barrel. However, this has a pin and weld job to keep it compliant with federal law. So there's a pin and weld job on the threading itself.
Okay.
Next up, it could not have a magazine capacity of over 10 rounds. So you could still have that detachable magazine. It was just there had to be a limiting plate for that left it down to 10 or shortened down to 10 in general.
So let me think about that. So I couldn't have a 30-round mag. I had to have a 10-round mag. So that's actually better for the gun. You know why that's better for the gun? Because the more rounds you fire out of a rifle, the hot it gets, and there's a possibility of you melting the barrel. But if you allow the gun to cool off by changing magazines a little more often, then it becomes more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you, government. So I can actually change out my magazines a little more, which allows the gun to cool off so I don't melt my barrel. So that way the gun actually works better. Wonderful. Keep going.
The pistol grip was also another thing that had to be addressed and removed. And then the buttstock either had to be firmly welded in place to the buffer tube, or you had to have a fixed stock. So the stock was not allowed to be adjustable.
Wonderful. Okay, so a lot of people have problems with their, every once in a while, the buttstock actually, parts of it breaks, and so sometimes it moves back and forth sometimes and gets a little loose. But if you make me have a fixed buttstock, I won't have that problem. So with a fixed buttstock, I won't have the problem of it malfunctioning or anything breaking, and then it can actually be a little more firm, and I can hold it and I can fire better. Wow. Once again, thank you, federal government. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, I tell you, boy, your government working for you. They're making sure that you're safe, and I like that. They want to make sure you don't have those bad parts. They want to make sure that you have the short magazine so your rifle can cool off and it stays cool. They don't want you to have any broken pieces or anything like that. Wonderful. I love my government. Go ahead.
You do, huh?
Well, I'm telling you, they're looking out for us. Let me tell you, they're looking out for us. All right, so what else?
So that was pretty much what happened. They also banned certain imported firearms at the time, some of the Chinese stuff and all that good, all those firearms. So what would happen is you would get the sporters. You would have thumbhole stocks on your FALs or your L1A1s, which were the FAL clones made in Britain and whatnot. So certain firearms did end up having certain attachments removed and swapped over to maintain compliance. So your Saiga, specifically your Saiga 12-gauge shotgun clones or actual shotguns, typically came in hunting platform with the standard classic rifle stock, similar to what you would see on an M1 Garand or a Ruger hunting rifle.
Okay. And just so for those that don't know out there, AR stands for Armor Light Rifle. But I like to use it as saying, American rifle. That's what I like to say. It's, I like to say it's an American rifle, but actually it's an Armor Light Rifle. It does not stand for assault rifle or assault weapon. Assault is a verb. And you know what? Just in case you don't know, go to pull up your dictionary, that thing called Google, Google it and pull up Google. And assault is a verb. It make a physical attack on. For example, he pleaded guilty to assaulting a police officer. That is a verb. Physical attack, his imprisonment for an assault on the film director. That is a verb. That's a noun. A concerted attempt to do something demanding. A winter assault on Mount Everest. That is a noun. So depending on how you use it, it could be a verb, it could be a noun. But what it is not is something that kills someone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Hey, this is AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, and you're listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so as soon as that press conference goes live, we will bring it to you. Before that happens, check this out. So the 2021 assault weapons ban, let's take a look at that on what they were actually looking to ban in 2021, which is a possibility of what could be in this 2022 bill.
So here we go. They actually define what they consider a semi-auto assault weapon. They actually literally say in the reading, semi-auto assault weapon, and it's regardless of country of manufacturer or caliber. A semi-automatic rifle that, one, has capacity to utilize a magazine that is not a fixed magazine, therefore a detachable magazine like the rifle I currently own. A pistol grip, a forward grip, which mine does have, therefore mine would be considered one of these. A folding, telescoping, or detachable stock that is otherwise foldable or adjustable that we can operate and to reduce length, size, or any other dimension of the firearm. So let's see what else they offer. A grenade launcher, a barrel shroud, aka handguard, which is standard on every single rifle, including your hunting stock rifles. The handguard being the forend where you hold the thing, where you're not holding onto the barrel. Thank you. Threaded barrel, which almost every single firearm these days has. Let's see what else. If your firearm does have, or your semi-automatic rifle does happen to have a fixed magazine, it cannot have the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds unless it is a tubular device utilizing 22 long rifle only.
All right, and what else?
Okay, they go on to say semi-automatic pistol that does not utilize a fixed magazine. It will not be allowed to have a threaded barrel, a second pistol grip, a barrel shroud, the capacity to hold or accept a detachable magazine at some location outside the pistol grip. So they do not allow for a firearm, a handgun now, to use a pistol, a magazine that comes up ahead of the trigger guard or behind the trigger guard. It must go inside the pistol, the grip that you hold itself. Let's see, what else do they do? It cannot be a semi-automatic version of an automatic firearm. So, anybody with an M950 Calico, with the 50-round drum-fed pistol that was designed after the 950 Calico firearm, that was used to be a fully automatic design, those are now banned. Here we go. We keep going. They all do the semi-automatic shotgun now. So, for semi-auto shotguns, you must have a fixed magazine in order to keep it. It cannot have a pistol, or it cannot have a folding, telescoping, or detachable stock. I am sorry, you people who love your Spaz 12s. Those are now considered on roster, regarding this ban. It has to have a mixed magazine with a capacity that can only accept 5 rounds. Therefore, your M1014s, your M4 Benellis, your Mossberg 930s, your 940s are all considered illegal under this ban, which has not gone through yet. Please keep this in mind. Let's see. What else do they do? The ability to attach accept a detachable magazine. That's your Saiga 12-gauge shotguns. That's your Chinese-manufactured clones of the Saiga 12-gauge shotguns. That's your AR 12-gauge shotguns. The Turkish ones that look like AR-15s, the VR-80s. All of those.
12?
Hmm?
Vepr 12s?
Yes, Vepr 12s. All of those are now officially illegal. They also went after the Remington TAC-13 V3. So anything that has a pistol grip or bird's head grip They just targeted all the Shockwave semi-automatic shotguns that are shorter than 14 inches.
And that's only if this actually they write this bill the same way they did it in 2021. They write this bill the same way, and it gets passed by the House, the Senate, and the president signs it. So it's up to you
to keep this from happening.
That's right. You got to contact your elected official, contact your U.S. senator, contact your congressman, congresswoman, and say, hey, this is not going to fly, because the United States was founded on firearms. Back in the 1800s, 1700s, we had guns, and that's how we defended this nation and how we built this nation on firearms.
Okay, so then they all start listing all the firearms involved with this ban. Every AK imaginable, including the Palmetto State manufactured ones. Your Izmash Saiga AKs, your Mahdi AK-47s and arms, your Narinkos, your Polytechs, your SKS rifles that utilize a detachable magazine, all ARs, not just certain ones, every single AR, including the following: AR-10, AR-15, Alexander Arms. They start actually listing every manufacturer they can think of. And the list is about 5 miles long of that. They then go into Barrett. M107A1. I am sorry, one of our wonderful customers who I will not remain anonymous. Yes, your 50 cal will be considered illegal under this ban. The Barrett M82A1. This Beretta CX4 Storm also falls under the ban category. The Setmace Sporter, the Calico. Everyone who owns an FNFAL or FNFAL clone, I'm sorry, you're going to have to give that girl up. Same thing with the FNC, the 308 Match, the L1A1 Sporter, your PS90s, your Scars, and your S2000s. They literally just told FN you can no longer sell semi-automatic rifles in America, according to this ban. Let's see. Go
ahead.
Donald's asking if there's a grandfather clause in there.
There is, and it gets weird. So, in order for you to have this grandfathered in, it must be registered almost like an NFA item. It must be securely stored, whatever the heck that means. I don't know how they're going to figure out what securely stored is, or how they're going to even determine if the firearms is securely stored. No, my house is not available for search. No, thank you. You can tell me that you need to search my house, and I'll tell you I need to do a level 4 plate check. Anyway, or you permanently disable the firearm. So you must render that firearm inoperable either by cementing the barrel, removing certain components that render it inoperable that cannot be replaced. So you must weld the sucker together almost like a block of steel. So that's the only way. Let's keep going with the banned firearms because they get even crazier. They go after High Point. The High Point carbine is actually on the list.
That may not be a bad thing.
Wait. All your Thompson Tommy gun clones or Tommy guns, the current ones that are in production, every single one, both pistol and rifle, are targeted. They go after Scorpion pistols, the CZ Scorpions. They target the every single AK pistol they can think of. They even look at this Keltec and say your sub 2000s, your SU16s, and your RFBs and RDBs are no longer available for manufacture to the public. Almost all your SIGs, like your AMTs, your P57s, your SIG MCXs, your MPXs, your Rattlers are all on this list. Every single one of them. All your Uzis are on the list. All your, let's see, for pistols, let's go down this roster for pistols now.
That's the kitchen sink.
They go after, your MP5 clones that are starting to pop up from Turkey. Those wonderful MP5 clones, every single one of those, plus the original HK MP5 clones, are on the list. All your Daniel Defense rifles, all your Chiappa M4 pistol firearms, your DS Arms, those are your FAL clones, all banned. Your PLR-16 by Keltec, banned. Your P50 by Keltec, banned. So all your Mac 10s and Mac 11s, all those, not considered legal to own. And the Sight Spectre, the 5.56 pistol, VMAC, Steyr AUG, all your bullpups are now no longer on market.
All right, so man, we're going to come back to that, but I want to tell you this. We're going to Uvalde right now. There's a press conference that's happening right now in Uvalde. Uvalde.
Okay, the House Committee on the Robb Elementary shooting will now come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Representative Burrows.
Here.
Representative Moody.
Present.
Justice Guzman.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Okay, a quorum is present. First, let me say this. If you're going to ask a question today and you were not able to fill out a witness affirmation form, a WAF, you can still ask your question. Just send an email to Paige, and she'll get it to you, and that should not be a reason why you cannot answer. What I would like to do today is start with this. If there's only one thing that I can tell you is there were multiple systemic failures. I would invite everybody to read the entire report. You cannot cherry pick one sentence and use it to say everything without reading it all together and with context. But if we need a simple phrase to describe what the report says, again, I would tell you multiple systemic failures. I want to first thank the mayor of Uvalde for hosting a meeting today with several of the families and asking for us to come by and attend, and I thought that was the respectful thing to do. I thought it was respectful to at least let them hear from me before we open this up to a broader public discussion. I look forward to the questions here at the press conference. One of the things that I said in there to the families is we want to show them as much respect as possible. The entire time this committee has been together, we have wanted to show them the most respect possible, and we've tried to do that. And I asked them if there was something we've ever done not respectful to let us know what it is. But I told them the most we can do to be respectful at this point is not to just blame one person or one thing. And I hope that the report, when people read all of it together, they understand that we look and take a broad approach to what happened that day. My biggest fear, and I also shared this with them at the meeting, is that we will look for simple solutions to these complex answers. And we will all look and say, well, you know, that's the way it was in Uvalde, it's different here. Well, let me tell you, the people of Uvalde before this, they felt it couldn't happen here. They felt that. That's the false sense of security I worry about. I think some of the same systems that we found here that failed that day are across the entire state and country. And I do not want to say because of one thing or one person here, it could not happen elsewhere. I think that's a disservice and not the respectful thing to do. This committee was created by Speaker Dade Phelan, and I'm so appreciated he did this. He formed this committee just 44 days ago. And I believe this committee has driven things to the forefront. I believe that because of this committee's work, some of the records have already been changed, and hopefully with this report, a lot of the record is set straight. This committee is a fact-finding committee. Our job was essentially to figure out what the facts were and report it. It's a bipartisan committee. And the reason it's bipartisan is because the problems are not Republican problems. They're not Democrat problems. They're all of our problems. So I'm very proud the Speaker made this a bipartisan committee. There are other committees in the Texas House and Texas Senate that will look at this report, look at the facts that we found here, and discuss and debate the policy that needs to be changed to try to make Texas children safer going forward in the future. I'm a policymaker. My colleagues up here are policymakers or have strong opinions about changes to policy that need to be done. Today is not the day that we're going to share what our strong feelings and convictions are about that. That was not the task of finding the facts. After some period of time, we will put our policymaker hats back on and share those opinions with the committee and others about what we think needs to change and what's done. But right now, we're going to let the report speak for itself and focus on the facts that were found in there. The committee met with more than 35 witnesses. Those were done in an executive session. That is the precedent of the House in the past and will likely be the precedent of the House going forward. Being an executive session, meaning the people and witnesses who attended did not have the cameras on them, and did not testify for the public at large to hear. We believe that that probably allowed us to get their testimony quicker, and also they were more candid and more conversational, allowing us to do our job more accurately. Other committees in the state of Texas do have subpoena power, and will have the opportunity to subpoena those witnesses for y'all to hear what they have to say for themselves. But that is the precedent of the House for an investigative committee to do this in executive session, which is what we did. In addition to the 35 witnesses that we interviewed, there were 39 independent interviews that our investigators, who did a phenomenal job, held to help us. We reviewed crime scene photos, audio and video from the incident, 911 calls. All of that went into trying to get this report compiled in 44 days so that we could deliver this here to Uvalde, and hopefully you will find this reflective of the facts that we basically could get to. Let me tell you a little bit about the report. We talk about the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District. And let me say this. With hindsight, we can say the Robb Elementary was not adequately prepared for the risk of a school shooter. The school's 5-foot fence was inadequate. Despite a policy of locked doors, there was a regrettable culture of noncompliance. In fact, all 3 exterior doors to the building were unlocked that day, and multiple interior doors were not secured the day of the shooting. When I talked about the false sense of security, I do not believe that Uvalde Consolidated or Robb Elementary is the only school with these issues in it. I've talked to enough other educators around the state to believe this is a wider problem that we need to continue to look at. We discussed the attacker. You will first notice we did not use his name. When we wanted to release the hallway video to the members of the families and the public, we were not going to show his image. He wanted that, and he did not deserve it. He did not deserve to have that recognition of his face or his name shown because it's what he wanted. Also, there are cultures online who look and believe that when they see these videos, there's something to be inspired by. We did not want others to look at these videos and to watch it and be inspired by it. We only wanted to show the law enforcement response. However, we did give you a more comprehensive look at the background of the attacker. We refer to him that throughout the report because that's how he refers to by the alert training. He fits the profile of many. He came from a broken home with little to no interaction with his father. He struggled in school, both academically and socially. He struggled to fit in and eventually became isolated. He networked through his peers, with his peers through social media and violent video games, and ultimately had a fixation on school shootings and even developed the nickname School Shooter. We also talk in this report about the failures of law enforcement. There's really 2 categories to think about when we talk about this. There is an early decision to treat this as an active shooter versus a barricaded subject situation. If you know, and the training and standards we set for officers is if you know there's active shooting, active killing going on, or somebody is dying, the standard is you have to continue to do something to stop that killing or stop that dying. That day, several officers in the hallway or in that building knew or should have known there was dying in that classroom. And they should have done more, acted with urgency. Tried the door handles, tried to go in through the windows, tried to distract him. Tried to do something to address the situation. In fairness, there were many officers at that scene who were either denied access to the building, were told misinformation, some were even told false information. Some were told the police chief of the Consolidated Independent School District was actually inside the room actively negotiating with a suitor, such that they did not know what was happening. They did not have the opportunity to do that. But that's not where the analysis stops. Everyone who came on the scene talked about this being chaotic. The training suggests that that chaos should not happen. Inside the school, there should be a tactical commander, someone who's taking lead on dealing with the actual in the hallway. But there should also be an overall commander. Somebody who's an overall command, flowing the information, making sure everybody knows what is going on. The fact that there was no overall commander outside the building, where there should have been one, should have been known by many. At a minimum, there was multiple opportunities, depending on the relative training and experience of law enforcement officers, to at least ask more questions or offer their guidance to try to remedy the chaotic situation and make sure there was effective overall command. There was a lack of effective overall command that day. Members, I'm going to recognize my colleagues for some brief statements, and then we will answer the questions here today. Representative Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Joe Moody, a Democrat from El Paso. I'm a former prosecutor. I've worked on issues like criminal law and mental health for my entire legislative career. And most importantly, I'm a father of 3. And sadly, I've dealt with mass shootings before. In just 2 weeks, it'll be the 3rd anniversary of the day a young man with a rifle murdered 23 people in El Paso. After that, we all kept asking why. Why did this happen to us? We're here today to provide some of those answers in Uvalde. And while this information will never make up for the unspeakable loss this community has endured, El Pasoans know how important it is to know. I also know the report we've given points to something very complex. It's hard to hear that there were multiple systemic failures because we want to tell ourselves that systems work. We want to tell ourselves there's one person we could point our fingers at. We want to tell ourselves that this won't happen again. That's just not true. What happened here is complicated. But there's also a call to action in this report, because systems are something that we can and must improve. I see the report as a baseline of information that we can all work from. So often these days, politics starts with the answer and doesn't even care about the facts. Here, we're starting with the facts, the most thorough, reliable report that's been done on what happened at Robb Elementary. There's more to do, but this report is a shared platform for us to work from together. The shootings in Uvalde and El Paso have important differences. So do Midland, Odessa, and Sutherland Springs, and Santa Fe, and on and on. But they also have important similarities that we can understand and address as a state. Although today isn't the day for that discussion, that's what this report can and must lead to. I made a promise to the people of El Paso that I haven't forgotten and that I will never forget. To do everything in my power to make sure the legislature understands what happened and why, and to fight for the solutions that we deserve. I make that same promise here today in Uvalde. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Moody. Justice Guzman.
Good afternoon. I'm Eva Guzman. I'm a former Texas Supreme Court judge, and I'm the public member of this committee. For the past several weeks, we have traveled to Uvalde and to take testimony, to hear firsthand what took place and in pursuit of the truth. We did so at the request of Texas House Speaker Dade Phelan, who charged us with delivering answers to the families who lost their loved ones and who seek to understand what happened that day. How could there be so many multiple systemic failures? As our state and our country mourn the tragic deaths at Robb Elementary, our committee unpacked the evidence to discover and report the facts. As a former judge, I spent much of my professional life ensuring that the facts I relied on to make decisions were accurate. I brought to this process that same determination. After all, accurate facts have to provide the backdrop for any policy changes that will come out of this. Throughout the investigative process, our only agenda was to follow the facts and the evidence. As John Adams famously said, whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passion, they cannot alter the state of the facts and the evidence. That's where we placed our focus. There, we found the truth about what really happened at Robb Elementary that day. But we also found the reality of the breakdowns in procedures and protocols and processes, of the breakdowns and failures in judgment and decision-making that occurred before and during the tragedy. That truth, it's heavy and it's hard because it lays bare human failures and it makes us confront collapses in our systems. They were supposed to work. They were supposed to protect the innocents who now lie in their graves. Today we stand before a community that's still gripped in grief. With this report, families who are crushed by sorrow and pain will now have desperately needed and deserved answers. But no report can heal the broken hearts. Only God can do that. Knowing the truth, we hope, will equip Texas lawmakers and leaders with information and knowledge that will guide them in deciding next steps. We hope the truth about this tragedy will also give this community the resolve to forge a path forward. I come here with humility and respect, and I am here for you, for the people of Uvalde.
All right, so we just heard from the Texas House Committee investigating the Robb Elementary School shooting. We heard from Representative Dustin Burrows. He was the chair of the committee. Representative Joe Moody, the vice chair of the committee. And Judge Ava Guzman. She was a former Texas Supreme Court justice. We heard the key takeaways in that is that Robb Elementary School responders failed to adhere to their active shooter training, and they failed to prioritize saving innocent lives over their own safety. The gunman fired approximately 142 rounds inside the building, and it is also almost certain that at least 100 shots came before any officers entered, according to the report. According to the report, 376 law enforcement officers massed at the school. The overwhelming majority of those who responded were federal and state law enforcement officers. We come back from the break and to talk about this and more. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Coleon Noir, and you're listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, I'm going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're coming back and we're talking about the Uvalde shooting at Robb Elementary School. We got some breaking news coming out of Uvalde. Not only did we just hear the press conference from the committee, the Uvalde mayor says acting city police chief on day of school massacre has been placed on leave after the report finds wide failures. All right, so that's coming out of Uvalde just right while the committee was speaking. That was breaking, from that conference. All right, so let's go back to talk about this assault weapons ban. So there's some items that are not included on this 2021 bill, which could be the same bill as 2022.
So the way this works is these are exempted firearms, and the list is a doozy. You're still allowed to have your SKS as long as it has the original wooden stock. You're allowed to have your old M1 Garand as long as it has its original wooden stock. All your bolt action, pump action, and lever action guns are all legal, which means my wonderful Mossberg 500, which, yes, a lot of people know me as Dog because of this. I'm just going to bring her on out. This is the Persuader model with the breacher barrel. This is still legal under the new law if it were put into place. Law enforcement use this particular model for breaching doors, by the way. They stick the breacher section right up against the door frame, pull first shot, pull second shot on the bottom one, kick that door in.
Yeah, that's my favorite home defense rifle there. I use one of those inside the house. Mine is actually a little sharper than that.
Oh, and it gets better. So they also authorize the ownership of the Mini 14 without a pistol grip and folding stock, which means you can literally, if you wanted to, recreate Miami-Dade if the FBI decides to kick your door in to try to figure out if you're doing the safe storage system.
So they didn't ban that rifle. They're only focused on other things. Huh?
They're only focused on pistol grips. They're only focused on detachable magazines. They're only focused on any kind of handguard that is detachable from the firearm or interchangeable with the firearm.
Wow.
Now, they also go after any kind of parts kits that allow you to build one of these. So you are no longer authorized to own or possess or manufacture any firearm post this ban coming into effect, unless you are law enforcement or military or federal agency.
Wow. I tell you, you know what? And we also got some news coming out of, let's see, Texas, Travis County, right here at home.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, check this out. So a Texas mother has sued Academy after selling daughter the gun she used in her suicide. So a Texas mother filed this civil lawsuit in Travis County against Academy Sports and Outdoors for selling a gun to her daughter on July the 2nd in Austin. And the gun was subsequently was actually used by the daughter in her suicide. There we go, because I couldn't say the word. Go ahead, say it.
Suspectantly.
Actually, you messed it up too.
Suspectantly.
There we go.
Subsequently.
Allegedly.
Thank you, producer. All right. So the court documents said the daughter struggled with bipolar and general anxiety disorder. And Academy never should have sold her the firearm and ammunition, according to the family. Given the condition in which she presented that Friday night, intended to purchase a firearm even after the store had closed, the lawsuit said. KXCN did this story, and so they did reach out to Academy and Outdoors, and of course, Academy's not going to make any statements, or, to this measure. So the court records said that the mother is suing for negligence, negligent hiring, training, and supervision, negligent entrustment, and gross negligence. The lawsuit also requested evidence pertaining to the case to be preserved. The request included statements, surveillance tapes, audio tapes, business records, investigation reports, and any other electronic image or information related to the incident. And I'm just curious, my question to the family is, how is the store clerk, whether it's Home Depot, if a person walked into the store to buy any other tool, or, the grocery store, to buy some chemicals or something like that, or, the Academy, the gun store, how is that clerk supposed to know something's wrong with your daughter if they're not seeing anything? They're not displaying anything.
It can be really hard to judge somebody just within 5 minutes. I mean, it can sometimes be really hard. You can hide so much from the general public.
Yeah.
It is pretty.
And if it wasn't so, if this person was so bad, and to the point, that it was that much of an issue, then why didn't the family do something? It seems to me that the mother is trying to blame Academy for her lack of action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that if it's that bad where you're that worried, it's called a court-ordered institutionalization, which actually puts you on prohibition for ownership.
All right. So don't blame the gun store. I think she's really just upset. She's sad because she, as a mother, didn't do enough to, maybe put her, contact law enforcement, get her daughter in the system, or get her some help or something like that, some counseling, or get her admitted into a facility against her will, so that way she would not pass a background check. Because unless you do that, the gun store is not going to know.
Yes.
So,
there is an actual questionnaire on that form that says, have you been adjudicated mentally defective by court order? If you have been, which means a judge or a jury has put you into the crazy house against your will, you are no longer allowed to own a firearm or possess a firearm or purchase a firearm from a federal licensed dealer.
And that's going to be the responsibility of the family. Something's wrong with your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your class bravo. It's going to be up to you to make sure they're admitted into a facility against their will, so that way they can't pass a background check. The gun store is not going to know that if they're not displaying any actions, they're not doing anything that will, send out any type of alert, so that way the gun store will know something is wrong. If you didn't do your job, then how in the world you're expecting the gun store to do theirs?
Yeah, it takes a village, right?
Takes a village to exactly.
Oh, definitely.
Exactly. So, and at some point we have to start fighting back. This is a sad, and don't get me wrong, this is a sad situation. Someone lost their life. Very sad. I feel sorry for the family. But because of your inaction, do not blame that on the gun store. Because you didn't do your job as a mother. That's not the gun store's fault. Also, I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about, let's see. Let's talk about there was a 911 call. Check this out. You guys have got to listen to this audio of this 911 call. I'm telling you, and this was out of, I don't know what city this was in. Don't know what state it was in, but this is a very peculiar 911 call. I want you to listen to it. There's no profanity or anything like that, but it's very detailed information. It shows how, you never know, what situation you could wind yourself in while you're at home, and you always got to be prepared for the unknown. Take a listen to this.
House and locked yourself in a room?
I've got a big shotgun. I'm not going into a tiny bathroom.
Is he still banging?
No, he's not banging, but he's walking around the house trying to find a way in. Oh, crap, he's at the back.
Okay, County 13 is advising that you can defend your property if you need to.
I don't want to have to kill this man, but I'll kill him graveyard dead man.
I understand.
All right.
You just stay on the line with me until we know what county officer's on scene.
No, I will. I've turned off all the lights I can. Oh, crap, he's breaking in.
He's breaking in now.
He's breaking in now.
He's breaking in.
Gun on him.
Just
If he breaks the window, I'm going to kill him. He's walking across back and forth on the porch. He looks to be an older man. I don't want to kill him.
I understand, ma'am.
He's kicking the door. Please hurry.
Hurry, how far out
Please hurry. He's going to make it in. Please hurry, ma'am.
Okay, I'm trying to find out where they're at.
He's kicking the door. Please.
Okay, they're on their way. They're getting straight out en route, too.
Please hurry.
Okay, stay with me.
I think he's drunk. He doesn't know where his pickup's at. God, I don't want to kill this man.
Okay, I understand.
Oh, dear God, ma'am.
Just try to, I know it's hard to stay calm, ma'am. Just keep on the phone with me.
I can't keep this gun and keep on the phone, darling. It's a big shotgun. It'll break my arm. As soon as you tell me they're here, I'm putting the safe back on this sucker. They need to hurry. He's going to break this thing open. And if he does, I'll have to kill him, ma'am. I don't want to kill him.
I understand, ma'am. You have to protect yourself.
I will. He keeps yelling, Pat. Oh, he's getting ready to break the window.
Okay.
He sounds drunk. Can you hear that?
I can hear him yelling. I can't hear what he's saying.
Oh, my God. Don't let him get the bricks. I'm trying to stay away from the windows.
House and lock yourself in a room.
All right, man, that's that, and there's a part 2 to that. When we come back from the break, I want to listen to that part 2 because that's when the guy actually gets into the house. He breaks in, and she has to do what she has to do to defend herself. We come back from the break, going to talk about that. I also want to talk about NASCAR. NASCAR star Bobby East was fatally stabbed at a California gas station. I want to talk about that. I also want to go to Florida. I want to talk about Philly. And I want to go to the city of brotherly love, see how much love is in Philly. I also want to go back and break down this Uvalde and talk about that a little more as well. So we come back from the break. We're going to talk about all those things. We're going to go around the world just a little bit, talk about some current events, break them down, and hopefully that, we can make sure that you wake up tomorrow feeling a little more safe because you're prepared. Guess what? You know what today was? We had an awesome Stop the Bleed seminar.
Yeah.
Stop the Bleed. We had, I had more people.
How many people showed up?
We had 31 people show up to this event. Wait a minute. We come back from the break and I'll talk about that and more. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
He didn't act that way. He never flinched. He went for his pockets. And when he went for his pockets, I thought my heart was going to stop. I mean, Hi, my name's Jerry. The incident we're going to talk about took place in early March of 2017. Started back about 3 years ago. We had a fella in the neighborhood that nobody really knew. We weren't familiar with him, and he was pretty regular about speeding up and down the street. It escalated into more speeding, threats. He chunked some rocks up into the yard, broke my windshield in my truck, and it escalated from that into.
All right, let me tell you. You know, you
death
know what?
threats.
we're offline, so you can say whatever you want. We're just on
Wait.
social media. Okay?
Oh.
So I want to tell you guys something. You know, I wish the Texas GOP, would have focused on this previous convention. They would have focused on the things that were important to
Right.
Texans.
Yes.
I wish they would have focused on electricity, the electricity grid.
The electric.
You know,
What else?
you know when the power went
Gas
out.
prices.
That's right.
Power
Gas
went out.
I have a feeling there's something else you want to ask.
I wish they would have focused on the high property taxes.
Okay.
Right. You know, I wish they would have focused on Uvalde response, school safety.
But there's-
How do we protect the babies? You know what I'm saying? I wish they would have, focused on the border crisis and also this homeless problem we're having. But instead of focusing on all of that, your Christian conservatives had this to say. Yeah. Okay. We're Casey. All right. So
we dropped the ball on that one.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Well, I think I remember what they said.
Yeah, you know what? Hold on. Electrical grid, right? The high property taxes, the gas prices, the school safety, protecting the kids, the babies, the school response. Instead of focusing on all that stuff, border crisis, homelessness, this is what your Christian conservatives at the Texas GOP had to focus on.
Favor the original language that causes abnormal behavior, because it is fisting, strapping on a dildo, and pegging.
Time is up.
It's abnormal.
Time's up.
No!
The time.
No, either your bedroom is you're just not getting satisfied in the bedroom, people. I'm telling you, that's what it is. They're not being satisfied in the bedroom
right.
at all. They had the focusing. You're focusing on things. Don't focus on what people do in their bedrooms. Who cares what consenting adults do? Instead of doing that, they're focusing on fisting, strapping on dildos. That's what they focus on instead of the electric grid and other things we need to focus on.
And pegging.
That's
Don't
right.
forget that.
And pegging.
Pegging.
What in the world is pegging? But Christian conservatives, they know what pegging
Christian
is.
conservative women know what pegging is. That's
All right. All right.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Boy, let me tell you, you're going to have to listen to the break on that one. You have to definitely go to your social media, pull out Facebook. Look, go to the YouTube page, right?
Go to the YouTube page and go to the hour and 11-minute mark. Right there.
We got some things that you need to hear because you have to be on. That's right. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. I'm telling you now, only on Sundays at Come and Talk It. All right. So, man, there's a part 2 to this 911 call. This young lady, she tried everything. She tried to get the police there. She did exactly what she needed to do. She called 911, said, look, please, I need help. I need help now. I don't want to do this to this man. I don't want to shoot him. I don't want to use my gun. I want you to come in. You need to catch this guy and get him because if he comes in my house, I'm going to have to stop him. Listen to this.
Set the gun off safety. He's trying to kick the door.
It's off safety, ma'am. All I got to do is fire.
He hasn't came through the door yet.
Okay, he's got a plastic chair. Thank God we don't have big chairs.
He's got a plastic chair?
Oh, he's got it. He's out of here, ma'am. I'm putting the phone down.
She hung up on me. He came through the window. He came through the door. He threw a chair through the door.
County, she finds no such access to the chair through the door. We have to make contact.
She put the phone down and said she was putting the gun on him.
Ma'am, he's about through the house. I'm going to shoot.
Oh, God.
Ma'am, hurry. Dear God, hurry.
Okay.
I haven't shot yet. Hurry.
Ma'am? Oh, my God. Ma'am, is your phone a cordless phone?
I shot him going out front. I hit him.
She shot him.
God, help me.
Okay, stay on the line with me. She shot him. I need to get an ambulance up there, too.
Oh, please, dear God, I think I've killed him. Please, Father in heaven.
No need for police now. We just need to see the paramedics and the police. We got it all taken care of. And she did exactly what she's supposed to do. Very last option. You tried everything. She tried to contact the police. She hid in her house. And this man broke into her home in the middle of the night, used something to break into his house, and she did exactly what she needed to do to stop him. And that's how it's done. Also, NASCAR. Man, Gary, NASCAR. Did you see this story, NASCAR?
Yeah, I saw it. Guy was stabbed to death at the gas station.
At the gas station. Man, NASCAR superstar. You know,
That almost happened to me a couple of years ago, and it was, I believe this was a homeless guy, right?
Yeah.
That almost happened to me. That's the first time I ever came on the radio. Maybe the second time. Homeless guy pulled a knife on me at the gas station. You can't play around with people like that.
And knives are very serious.
Yeah, well, I would rather get shot than get stabbed
If
personally.
a person stabs you in the right spot, you're dead in 40 seconds. 40 seconds.
40 seconds.
You're gone.
Did you learn that at Stop the Bleed?
You're gone. That's right.
Even with Stop the Bleed, there's actually a video of some guy who got nailed in the neck with a fork, carotid artery, and you watch that. His entire bloodstream just goes all over the floor of wherever they were, and 30 seconds later, he's down.
Yeah.
And so what we did do today, as a matter of fact, on Sunday, we had a Stop the Bleed seminar. We had a group of people, and usually we try to keep these classes at 10 to 15 size. But I can't turn people away. So instead of 10 or 15, we had 31 people show up. And so we, gave them a seminar on how to stop the bleed, whether it's stabbing, whether it's a gunshot, you're involved in a mass shooting, no matter what it was. Maybe you're out with the kids and something happened, they broke a leg, maybe they got cut on something, and you need to control the bleeding before paramedics arrived. So we did the seminar to show you how to stop that bleed. And you can always come back to the gun store. We have these first aid packs that we're selling as well, because this stuff is very important. I want you to defend yourself. I want to get a complete package. Like I told my firearm safety course today. I mean, today was a crazy day for us. We had 3 classes. We had a firearm safety course at 8 o'clock in the morning, a fire safety course at 10 o'clock in the morning, with a Stop the Bleed class at 11:30 a.m. So it was a really crazy busy day. So you're talking, we had a total of like 50 students, filtered through at different times in the gun store, along with regular customers, on a Sunday, all before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I like to call my Sundays my gambling days. I'm usually the only one behind the counter. Either everything happens, like today, where there was just a revolving door of nonstop. I was head down working, or it's a nothing day where I'm just standing around going, wonder what's on Gunbroker. Wait, why did I get broke all of a sudden? Oh,
yeah. So and I was glad because we're able to provide this complete package to people. Teach you gun safety. We teach you gun laws. We make sure you're proficient with the firearm. Teach you how to hold the gun, how to stand, how to effectively stop that threat.
Well,
take apart and clean it. Go ahead.
Here's
Gary.
my question. Well, if you're at a gas station and somebody's about to knife you, how are you supposed to safely shoot that attacker, given that if you miss or if the bullet goes through the guy, you're hitting a gas pump and everybody's getting blown straight to the afterlife?
Well, you need to know what your threat is and what's behind that threat. We talk about that in class.
What I'm saying is, what do you do then? What's your...
Know your threat, what's behind that threat. You need to shift and move.
Shift and move.
Move back up.
Move to cover. As you're moving, that person is shifting, and then you know what their backstop is, and then you stop him, you drop him.
Do we know why the guy stabbed this NASCAR driver anyways? Because another thing I just want to remind people, if somebody's acting crazy or whatever, it's not always your business. That's not always your part to get involved, because de-escalation and avoidance is also part of firearms training.
That's right. We talk about the conflict resolution skills of it,
right?
How to calm situations down. So currently at this moment in time, no one knows why this was done. They don't know why this guy did this. They're not sure. He's still on the loose. They're looking for him. The statement from the Westminster Police Department described the 6'5" Millsap is his name. His name is Trent William Millsap.
I think they shot him dead. I think there was an update, right before we came on the air. Yeah.
We got to find that for me.
Oh, my. Up real quick.
Yeah, because the transient and known to frequent Westminster, Garden Grove, and Anaheim motels, pictures released by the department show Millsap covered with tattoos on his head, his face, his neck, his chest, his arms, and his hands.
Yes, from CNN.
Okay, go ahead.
Man who allegedly fatally stabbed professional race car driver was killed in a police shooting.
Nice. Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, that's taken care of.
Well, justice was served.
FAFO is like what we...
That was a good 115 send-off right there.
FAFO, that's right. That's right.
FAFO, and what was that?
The 115 send-off.
That's right. That's how it's done. All right, let's go to the next story. Let's go to Florida. Over on Florida.
Wonderful, wonderful Florida.
That's right. Nothing like a Florida man. I'm telling you.
Right.
Making it happen.
Speaking of Florida, man, we actually had one of our customers constantly put his current residency as Florida, so he's officially gotten that nickname of Floridian. You can try to get away from Florida, but Florida will never get away from you.
All right, so a Florida homeowner, let me tell you, will absolutely not face charges after firing an AK-47 style gun at suspect home invaders, according to the local sheriff. He started shooting for his own protection to get them out of his house and to protect himself, according to Escambia County Sheriff Chip Simmons said of the recent shooting in the video address posted to their Facebook page.
I was going to say, it's always great when the sheriff says he will absolutely not face charges. Strong stance, strong statement, and it shows everybody else that if somebody breaks into your house, you can shoot them dead.
Or you can use as many rounds as necessary to either stop the threat or get them out of the house.
There's been more and more sheriffs saying things like that lately because it's, in places like Massachusetts and New York and in certain areas in California, if you shoot somebody that breaks into your house, you're almost more liable to go to jail than they are. So it's good to send that message.
As a matter of fact, a couple of my California friends actually have said it is deadlier to have. It is more dangerous to have that license to carry when it comes to court because they will actually see that not as a license to carry and defend yourself. They will see that as a license to kill and try to use it against you, saying that you
they'll be harsher. They'll throw the book at you. Yeah,
exactly.
All right, this next story looks like a video to it or something like that. I think.
What are we looking at here?
So this is a Philadelphia story. Philly, city of brotherly love.
Not so much.
Yeah, boy, not this day. You're gonna learn right now. You're gonna learn today. So a 14-year-old female Philadelphia teenager has become the second to face a murder charge after a 73-year-old man was beaten to death with a traffic cone. The girl, identified by the Philadelphia Police Department as Gamara Mosley, was charged with third-degree murder and criminal conspiracy in the June 24th killing of James Lambert. Another 14-year-old teenager, Richard Jones, already faces the same charges after being arrested Monday, according to the police.
Yeah, and one of the third person that was involved who turned themselves in with this girl was 12, I believe, and she was released without being charged. I don't think I think she was just there.
14 years old.
But if you're 12 years old and you're there and you're part of this, but you're not actually doing anything, I mean, do you really have are you coherent enough to know
in some states, they're like,
I guess it depends. 14 is definitely the borderline for that, but nonetheless, they killed an old man. This is wild. I mean, how do you? Yeah, what?
In this video, it's children.
Literally, yeah.
Children.
12. One of them, I think, one of the other kids that was there was 10 years old or something.
I say
like that.
prosecute them.
Every single one of them to the fullest extent, and I don't care that they're kids. I want them charged as adults.
That's right.
Take
their life that they
for
took
murder. Definitely charges an adult.
All right. As always, I like to say more guns equals less crime. So you go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.